Transformers Podcast. I am Casey Coggins here with Alvin Hebert.
Who wants to smoke?
And Andrew Lira.
We gave up too much for Amari Cooper. I already choked on it. Damn it. Never saying that again. Never saying that again.
That's just wishful thinking there. Giving up one first round pick for Derek Carr, even though apparently he's on the trading block too. As Andrew just mentioned, Amari Cooper has been traded from the Oakland Raiders to the Dallas Cowboys for a first-round pick, which I personally believe is a really bad move for the Cowboys because you don't know where that first-round pick is going to end up because you don't know how the season's going to turn out.
Even though it's next year's.
And if the Cowboys brass thinks that getting one receiver is going to fix all of their issues,
the whole offense,
when they have
it's all right.
that guy coaching them, and Scott Linehan and the coaching staff, and Connor Williams still playing left guard, and all of the issues they have, if they think Amari Cooper is going to be the answer to all of it, they're going to be sorely mistaken.
Didn't Amari Cooper lead the league in drop passes last year?
Yes, he did. He had a bad year last year. Same with the rest of the Raiders. And this year, I don't think he has had any. They don't have any help there. Like, he has Jared Cook at the tight end position.
That's about it.
But he doesn't have Michael Crabtree anymore. And,
well, Jordy Nelson had a couple 100-yard games already.
Yeah, because all they're doing is going to load up on Cooper and say, all right, well, one of these other guys is going to have to beat us. And spoiler alert, the Raiders haven't really beaten anybody this season.
Have they got a win yet?
They have one win.
They do.
Sweet.
Yeah. John Gruden's first win in 10 years.
Right. It sounds so much worse than it really is.
and
his first year returning. It's his first one in 10 years.
I believe it was the Browns that they beat in overtime.
That was, yeah.
And they won it was like a minute left when they got the field goal to win the game. So
it was about to be another tie.
Yeah. So that wasn't a great game. They got blown out by Seattle and London. And they just put Marshawn Lynch on the IR. So I understand the move on the Raiders' point. Like their point of view is we're not going anywhere this year. Amari Cooper, yeah, he's a good receiver, but if Khalil Mack was expendable, everybody else on that roster is, and you got a first for it. Like, who in their right mind is spending a first for? I know he's still young. I think he's only like 25. But
two-time Pro Bowler.
But
they were saying that the Eagles offered a second-round pick.
Yes, that was the highest,
and that the Raiders were going to go for it until the Cowboys said, "Hold my beer."
Wait. They're going to trade for him? Well, we can't have Philly trading for him.
Yeah, he can't go to Philly.
Yeah, but what the fuck does it matter? Like,
he went full Godfather and made them an offer they can't refuse.
Which is really sad because it was just one pick. One first-round pick.
Fucking first-round pick.
But, depending on how the rest of this year plays out, like I said, they could have just stolen a top 10 pick. And the Bears, if things don't break right for them, that could be a top 10 pick. And the Raiders sure as hell could be a top 10 pick. They could have 3 of the top 10 picks in next year's draft.
With Nick Bosa coming out.
Yes, and I don't think any of the quarterbacks in this next draft is going to be worth a damn. Everybody's trying to hype up Justin Herbert from Oregon, and I'm on his side of, I believe it's Kevin Clark, somebody at the Ringer who he went through all of the quarterbacks that were drafted that were listed at 6'6" or taller, and it's guys like Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, just terrible quarterbacks.
So they're all just trash.
They're all trash, and he's like, tall quarterbacks don't win in this league.
They're garbage.
Joe Flacco, I think, is the best 6'6" and above quarterback that's ever played in the NFL.
Joe Flacco 6'6"?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's average at best.
Yeah, so He does have one Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl because a power went off in the stadium. Don't forget that.
Trent also.
That's true. Eli Manning has 2, and we see how well that's played out for him. The Raiders are making the right moves. The Cowboys, though, they're the team that I wanted to focus on when we talked NFL today, because we're only going to talk briefly on the NFL because we have other things to get to, bigger and better things to get to. The Cowboys had the ball on the opponent's 45-yard line with 57 seconds left, a timeout, and a first down. They managed to run 2 plays before kicking a field goal, and they lined up for the field goal at 47 yards. So that means in 57 seconds, in the 2-minute offense, the hurry up, the holy shit, we need to do something fast or else we're not going to...
You mean the time's running out?
Yeah. That kind of offense, they managed to go like 8 yards. Or they went 10 yards in 57 seconds, having to hurry up, and they ran 2 plays. One of them was a run play. Why the fuck are you running the ball?
I'm just ready for Coach Romo to come in and take over, bro.
Quarterback Coach Romo. He's and I don't think...
You think that idea's crossed Jerry's mind yet?
It crossed his mind when he retired. But
if it crossed his mind, why would he set him up with his job?
Jerry Jones wasn't about to fire Jason Garrett because Jason Garrett... Jerry Jones is Jeff Dunham, and Jason Garrett is Peanut. I like
how you don't go for the more famous puppet.
Peanut is the famous... Well, I guess Ahmed now. Well, see, there's the thing, though, is Ahmed liked to blow things up. Jason Garrett doesn't blow anything up.
Yeah.
He's just kind of annoying on the sideline.
He's the old man puppet.
Yeah.
And... Why would you get rid of... We know who Jerry Jones likes to have as a coach. Somebody who he can just boss around and tell what to do. Mm-hmm. Anytime somebody gave him any backlash, guess what? They were fired.
We miss you, Jimmy.
Even Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling for the days of Dave Campo. Wade Phillips isn't a good head coach.
No.
He's a damn good.
He's good where he's at.
He's a damn good defensive coordinator, but head coach wasn't his forte.
That's a stretch.
But so the Romo coaching thing, Romo I don't think is can be the Dallas Cowboys next head coach, because with Dak Prescott being their starting quarterback and having him get that job because Romo broke his back again. I don't see that working well, especially since there are still guys on this team that played with Romo and watched how great Romo was, and now they're playing with this dude at quarterback who his best skill is to run, and that's really what he can run and run play action. Those are his 2 skills, and for whatever reason, the Cowboys don't understand that, or they just ignore it completely because they like to try to air it out with him. But they need somebody imaginative in their coaching staff. They need somebody who's going to see the trends and try to follow the trends, because with the guys, they have personnel who look like the personnel on the best offenses. Cole Beasley is probably just as good as Cooper Kupp. And Tavon Austin is... he's not as good as Brandon Cooks or Tyreek Hill, but he's that role player. Zeke is the best running back. Oh, he's not as good as Todd Gurley, but he's sure as hell better than Kareem Hunt. You don't have the tight end like Travis Kelce, but you have pieces that resemble the best offenses in the league.
You can make them those pieces.
Why are you not just putting those offenses on film and just saying, this is what we're going to do? And we don't even need to make it a fancy play. We're going to give every one of their plays a number. We're going to run number 1 today, guys. Don't complicate things. Just carbon copy what they're doing, because guess what they're doing is leading them to a 7-0 and a 6-1 record and 2 of the top 3 offenses in the league, and people putting them into the Super Bowl conversation. You know what's not happening with the Cowboys? Nobody gives a damn about their offense. People aren't even putting them in playoffs. And the defense at the beginning of this year was kind of like, we hope they can improve. And now at this point, it's like, please, defense, save us. And that's not where we should be if we're the Cowboys. Like, they need something. And Amari Cooper, as good as I think he is, isn't going to fix your problems. Because your problems was more than just having a receiver out there. Because guess what? Well, we all have talked about Dez Bryant having lost a step and not being as good as he once was. He would still be the number 1 receiver on this receiving core, and he still demanded attention, because if he got one-on-ones, he was gonna win a jump ball. Like, you could count on him winning a jump ball. He might not create separation, but you could at least count on him to go and make a play. Amari Cooper isn't going to just miraculously fix this offense. What's going to fix this offense with Amari Cooper is them saying, all right, well, this is what we're going to have to do going forward, and changing up everything that they've done to this point so far. And if they did the same exact changes with Amari Cooper as without Amari Cooper, they would probably get the same results and start winning more football games. So the Amari Cooper trading a first-round pick did nothing for them other than lose a first-round pick.
And everybody's still laughing at them.
That's never going to stop.
Like, Jesus.
That's never going to stop.
The inconsistency is just mind-blowing, man. You go from 1 week to having the game plan down pat, like, all right, that's how the offense should look, to next week is just like you're reverting back to what it looked like in week 1.
Well, and it's like, so look at Lions fans speaking. Look at what Zeke did to the Lions. He just, starting off the bat, was hitting holes, hitting runs against a team that can't stop the run. Well, they kept with the run. They kept getting the ball to Zeke in that game, and he got his, I believe, career high in total yards from scrimmage that game. Yep. Now you look at a game like last night against Washington, where, he had 15 carries for 33 yards, so that's averaging a little over 2 a carry. They just immediately abandon it. They just say, well, we're not going to be able to run the ball today, so let's go ahead and try to throw the ball. And now you got to take the loss with a grain of salt. Yes, I just bitched about the coaching and them not running more plays in 57 seconds and doing more at the end. Dak Prescott made a terrible play to get sacked and fumble on the 1-yard line, and which led to a Redskins touchdown, which put them up, I believe, 20-10 at that point. And like, he could have thrown the ball to Zeke, he could have thrown the ball away. He just made a bad play, but he also brought them back and made some really good plays down the stretch. And then all of a sudden, they just kill that momentum, and they threw that pass to Cole Beasley with 20 seconds left. It's challenged by the booth to make sure it was actually a catch. So the clock is going to run. And this is where people are like, Romo was complaining about the time management. Instead of being at the line to either spike the ball and stop the clock, or have a deep out or an all go, because there's 12 seconds left at this point, they just say, we'll run the ball with Zeke, call our timeout, and kick a field goal from here. What are you doing?
With the kicker that's already missed a field goal this season.
Well, and
you release Dan Bailey, the most accurate kicker
It would have been good. It would have been good second. Second most accurate kicker ever. Justin Tucker's the first.
Or until he missed it.
Right.
But he only missed an extra point. He's still, what, like 100 for his last 100 within like 40 yards. But he's still number one on the accuracy list. But that kick would have been good from 47, and then they had the snap infraction, which backed them up to 52, which was kind of a weird call. And they so one snapper said that's the right call, and officials are saying that's they look at his play and that's obvious, that's the right call because he moves the ball like that. Well, if you look to previous field goals, they actually showed a field goal earlier that game that he did the same exact movement. So had that call not happened, he probably makes the field goal, and that's one of the things that I knew people were going to complain about. Well, if that didn't happen, or if they just make the kick. No, the coaching staff led everything up to the kick. Don't blame the kicker for missing the kick. Blame the coaching staff for making the kicker have to kick it from that far, because
don't put yourself in that situation.
You have one timeout with 12 seconds left. You can run one more play to get you 10, 15 more yards, which would take if you get 10 yards, which would have been a 47-yard field goal, that's 37 yards. Now you get a snap infraction, 42 yards, which is still 5 yards closer than what it originally would have been, and 10 yards closer than what it ended up being. And he makes that kick. Without a doubt, I believe he makes that kick. So I think that Jason Garrett, Dak Prescott gets blamed there too, because if Jason Garrett says we need to run this play, Dak Prescott needs to know that he's the quarterback here. He needs to say, all right, we're not going to do that. This is what we're going to do. Because Drew Brees would tell Sean Payton, hey, coach, that's stupid. Let's do this. Now, to be fair, Sean Payton would be smart enough to know, hey, I got Drew Brees. Let's go get another 15 yards.
Yeah.
So it's
wishful thinking. What could have been?
Yeah, I know.
Still today. How long ago was it? 10 years ago already?
Yeah.
Sean Payton got there in 05, 06. Oh, well, I guess when his contract was up with the Saints, and they ended up going with Jason Garrett, and they didn't throw a bunch of money at Sean Payton. But I don't think Sean Payton was ever going to leave the Saints at that point. You would have had to get Sean Payton the same time the Cowboys got Bill Parcells. So, but that's long time ago. But it's just, when do y'all see Jason Garrett getting fired at the end of this year?
I hope so.
That's wishful thinking.
That's not what I asked. But as the
I think yes.
The podcast Cowboys fans. Let's say hypothetical situation. Let's say Cowboys win the division, lose in the first round of the playoffs.
He still keeps his job.
Oh yeah, easy.
Let's say they don't win the division, get a wild card, lose in the first round of the playoffs.
He's fired.
So he has to win the division to keep his job in your eyes?
Yeah.
Andrew, if he makes a wild card and loses?
I don't think it comes down to performance.
Let's say they're the 6th seed.
I don't think it comes down to performance. It comes down to obedience.
Obedience.
Well,
this is also the first time he's ever questioning the staff too.
To be fair, Jerry Jones is, while he does seem to like his obedient coaches, he also has a little bit of a flair for dramatic, and he likes to bring up and try to make a big scene to keep the Cowboys in a relevant conversation. Like, so if at the end of the season, no matter what, if they don't win a playoff game this year, I see Jason Garrett being fired if and only if one of these like hot commodity college coaches, as I brought up, Lincoln Riley, if they know that they can throw money at them to get them into their system. Because Jerry Jones, if he's able to poach Lincoln Riley from OU and get him as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, one, he gets a better offensive system. Two, he gets more headlines, because right now, all of the only headlines that come about the Cowboys and their coaching staff is how incompetent they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. You want better news. Like, you want, Monday morning when headlines go out and, the media people are talking about the Cowboys game. When it comes to coaching staff, it's not, this coaching staff is terrible. The Clapper did it again. It's, did you see the play that Jason Garrett called on a 4th and 7 with 3 minutes left? Like, what a ballsy move by Jason Garrett. When's the last time you have said that as a Cowboys fan? Wow, what a ballsy move by Jason Garrett. Has he made one?
No.
Never.
Fourth and one in overtime, and he's fucking punting the ball.
Jerry Jones got the balls up there in his booth.
Just clinking around. Clink, 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 clink.
He's got him on his rearview mirror.
Dice.
So I think that wraps
dice.
up our Cowboys conversation. Were there any other things about this past weekend in the NFL that y'all would like to discuss before we get on to our pride and joy of the NBA?
Nah, they covered it pretty good.
Mahomes just doing Mahomes things.
Yeah. Rams just headbutting everybody.
Is Rams going to finish undefeated?
No.
No?
One, they play the Chiefs in Mexico City, week 11.
Okay. They do play the Chiefs.
So
we're saying that's an L right there?
Not a guaranteed L, but it's going to be... They're not going to be so heavily favored as they have been.
Since they got brought up, oh yeah, I forgot they're on a bye week.
Who?
The Rams.
Mm.
So their next game is on the road against the Saints.
That's a tough game.
So, that one I can see them losing. Oh no, they're at home against the Packers. I didn't see that game. I just skipped over it. So yeah, so they're home against the Packers this week.
We don't care about the Packers.
Which...
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Packers.
You really never... I mean, you can't count out Aaron Rodgers. But the Packers defense is probably going to get torn to bits.
It's possible for them to go undefeated.
So then it's...
They've got three potential losses.
I mean, they're going to lose...
At New Orleans.
They're going to lose December 2nd.
December 2nd to the Lions. Detroit.
Yeah.
So they have a possible loss on the 4th in New Orleans.
We'll get to my Lions fandom a little later. So just spoiler alert. I'm going to actually commend their coaching staff a little bit.
So yeah, New Orleans possible. Again, hosting Kansas City. Well, but that's actually in Mexico City.
So that's us.
And then Philly is the only...
They're in Chicago. And if Khalil Mack is 100%, because I don't think he has been the last couple weeks, we've seen that their offense can be good at times. They actually probably beat the Patriots if they don't give up a kick return touchdown and get a punt blocked. So, like, Chicago is a team, as much as I hate to say it, is a team you can't count out. So I would say...
But, I mean, they also already have they've already gone past their bye, so not like he's going to have a week off or anything already. Khalil Mack is just, he's in it now.
No, they have. I thought their bye was.
Their bye was week 5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Thanksgiving that I was like, but they have a game the November 19th and December 2nd, but then I realized the week before is Thanksgiving, so that's why that's different. So they're not gonna lose a division game. So the games that you're looking at are Packers, Saints, Chiefs, Lions, Bears,
Oh my!
Eagles.
He threw the Lions in there too.
Well, I was saying the non-division games that they have left.
Yeah.
Of course.
If
That's what it was.
I mean, at this point in time, there's no way in hell the Lions beat the Rams. At this point in time, if the Lions continue what they did these last couple weeks, I think that's going to be a tougher game than most people are going to think. It is at this point in time. The big question mark is going to be the Lions shoring up their run defense. And that's their big question mark because the Rams kind of have the best running back in football right now. So they're two games that are the toughest. Their toughest games are Saints and Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I see them.
They could. It's possible to go undefeated, but you got 2 possible losses on the board.
Knowing how football works, they're going to go 13-3. I don't know where those 3 are coming from. I'm not going to say they're losing. I'm not going to say they're losing to like the Seahawks.
I'm not saying they're going to lose in Detroit, but
if they do, it won't surprise you.
Because that's how football
if they
works.
lose in Detroit, just know that I kind of insinuated that it was going to happen.
Like their last game is at home against the 49ers. They're going to have the division wrapped up with in hand.
But if they're undefeated, they're going to go for the whole...
I just said they're going to be 13-3.
Yeah.
So that would put them at 13-2 that game.
Yeah. Possibly 13-1.
Because that's how football works, bro.
But it's just weird things happen. Buffalo beat Minnesota by like 3,000 points earlier this year.
It's Minnesota, though.
Buffalo just got beat by 30 against Indianapolis.
But still, Minnesota. You can't trust Minnesota.
They just played a pretty good game this week.
Yeah, that's this week, but
the Jets are better than the Bills, and
can't trust them still.
Justin Tucker missed an extra point for the first time in his life. Football works in mysterious ways. So, let's get on to the first week of the NBA. Because
who wants to smoke?
Yeah, I guess we can start with the main headline, which really is an unfortunate headline, but
should we do a Staples Center celebrity brawl, like possibility between Travis Scott and Nipsey Hussle? Who would win in a fight?
Nipsey Hussle. No doubt. Straight a crook rock all over his face.
Over Travis Scott?
Hell yeah. Travis Scott don't want that smoke.
He was getting hype on the sideline too.
You saw that?
I don't know enough about Nipsey Hussle to have an educated guess on that one, but knowing that Travis Scott is H-Town, I mean, I know how H-Town rolls.
Yeah, H-Town get down.
Hey, Crenshaw.
So Nipsey Hussle is 6'3". Let's just go.
Tail of the tape.
Yeah, exactly what we're going for.
It's all right. Jack he probably hired like mafia members to sit in the Staples Center. So he just taps his watch a couple times, and all of a sudden 3 guys come up out of the fucking ground.
So Nipsey Hussle is 6'3". Travis Scott is 5'9".
Napoleon complex. Put it on Travis Scott.
Feisty.
He's gonna be kicking and fucking roundhouse.
He's gonna cut the link. He's gonna get inside.
On top of that, Nipsey Hussle might only win because the guys from Red Hot Chili Peppers run the house too.
Flea's gonna come flying off the fucking rafters.
Fucking smash him with a bass.
He's gonna get up, say it's all about the bass, and walk away.
And then you got Dowsum that's just gonna run up in there.
Fucking linky ass Brendan Ingram.
Yeah, so I actually watched it happen. I was watching that game.
I was watching it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the... Like...
I see Casey going, ooh!
I actually had it on mute because I was watching a video on my phone, like recaps of NFL games, because I was like, this game's over. Like, the Houston's gonna win this game, and so I stopped watching it. And then I look up and I see James Harden drive into the basket and doing like what every player in the NBA does in that situation of throw your shoulder into the defender.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say travel.
Euro step.
and not get called for an offensive foul and get a foul called and so I was like, okay, whatever. And then Brandon Ingram is walking back and he just shoves James Harden. I was like, that was weird. I understand that, like, you get tired of that shit. Like, if I was getting shoved around, like, what drives me nuts is watching. Now, no, I grew up being a 3-point specialist, running around screens and
Did
like.
you just call yourself a specialist?
That was my job in basketball.
Sharpshooter.
Was to shoot threes.
They call me the White Ray Allen.
Not Steve Kerr.
I use specialist because that's the term that you would give to Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver's job is not to play defense.
Casey's got the game of a 6'2" Jewish kid in New York. I'll spread the court and shoot the J.
I always like to believe myself to be a young Steve Nash, but
Okay.
but it drives me nuts. So like watching guys run off screens like Rip Hamilton and Klay Thompson and Danny Green and all of them, like that's what I watch more of in the game, and it drives me nuts watching the player on offense take two hands, put it into the chest of the defender, shove, creating like 5 feet of separation to go behind the screen and shoot a three and not get called for a foul. Like, the more games you watch on like national television, you're gonna see, the Warriors a lot. So you see Klay and you see Kevin Durant and you see Steph do it all the fucking time, where they're just shoving guys off of, like, if I was a defender and I kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed and this guy has 33 points on me because I'm getting shoved and then I have to run around the screen where a guy is moving into me, and I'm going to get pretty pissed off. Like, I'm going to get frustrated that if I was to try to defend the push, I get called for a foul, but me getting pushed isn't a foul. So in the Harden Ingram situation, when you're getting shouldered every single time this guy drives into you,
Shouldered or shit on?
it's a little. When they don't call a foul on it, you're getting shit on. Because I mean, technically, using your shoulder to create space to be able to shoot the ball is an offensive foul.
Yeah.
And it should be called as such. But my like first week takeaway feeds into this narrative that the NBA has always kind of looked at what the NFL is doing and why the NFL is getting popular, and like tried to like they keep up with trends, and right now the trend is not fucking defense.
Well, it's all offense.
So I pulled up the team stats, and I pulled up what are teams averaging in their first 2 or 3 games.
Over 100 points.
The worst offense in the league right now is the Orlando Magic. They and I think they've only played 2 games. So in the 2 games, their average is 102.3 points.
And they're playing tonight.
Number 1, New Orleans Pelicans, 140 in their first 2 games.
Yeah.
140. No team is averaging under 102. The average is about 115. So, like, that's just to me as a fan, like just the way I like to watch the game. I don't like it just being a complete one-sided affair where I just know that like whoever has the best offense is going to win the game. That's kind of how it is in the NFL. You get some games where the defense actually makes plays, but right now you can look at the best teams in the league and they're like right there at the top in offense.
Just looking at the slate of games that happened on Saturday and Sunday, there were only two teams
that didn't
break 100.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was looking at the Lakers stats. They average about 108 points a game so far, which is 11th in the league.
Yeah.
But since nobody plays defense, the opponent averages 109.6 games, which is 25th in the league. Like, that shit is like...
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, all right, you can score, but you're still letting your opponents, like, outscore you.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's the way it is. Like, try to outscore them.
Yeah, it's so to get back to the Harden shove, the shoulder. Like Brandon Ingram is probably coming back and like yapping at the ref, and Harden probably you don't. I haven't seen what Harden says, but it wouldn't like seeing the back of his head and what transpires and the way he walked past.
All Harden was doing was just like saying like that should be an N1.
Yeah,
like, that's all Harden was doing.
And
it wasn't like he was in his face.
And so Ingram's like, really, you're going to try to bitch about an N1? Like he's pissed off. Like, understandably.
But you still don't throw a temper tantrum like that.
Brandon Ingram
you
broke
push
character.
the shit out of James Harden, and then you get in the ref's face, and you know that punch that he threw at CP3 was meant for that ref.
For the ref.
That's why he came back and said, you know what, fuck this ref. Fucking swung at CP3.
To me, Brandon Ingram broke character, bro. Like, that's not him. That's not who he is as a player.
Well, I mean, according to him, that's who he is, and he's going to do it 10 times out of 10.
That dude is dumb. He ain't... That's not who he is.
Well, so...
Like, if it was Lance Stevenson that did something like that...
Lance Stevenson had to hold him back.
That's
dog.
That's kind of the... One of the takeaways of the fight for me is that it didn't escalate until, you know, the two people on the court who dislike each other the most got into it. Because it was... Brandon Ingram had gotten pulled away, as you said, by Lance Stevenson. He just fucking shoved him away. He's over by where the ESPN guys are calling the game.
Hey, what was Lonzo Ball doing?
He was standing by half court.
Yep, he was ready to walk. That's Brandon Ingram. He should have just been standing next to him, half court, ready to walk to the fucking bench.
Well, and like, people were complaining about LeBron not being there for the Lakers team, and he was,
yeah, that said a lot too.
And I'm like, CP3 and Melo are his boys. Like, I'm not.
Let Melo get CP3. You get your team.
Melo was over by Brandon Ingram.
Yeah,
Melo was actually helping Lance Stevenson calm Brandon Ingram down. Like, Melo was away from it too. He was over by half court as well.
Melo was right there in the middle of it.
No.
When did he leave? Because that's why everyone
before the punches.
That's why everybody thought that Melo spit on CP3.
No, Rondo spit on.
I know Rondo did, but there were people saying that could it have been Melo that spit on him?
No, like at the first glance, I think Melo and Lance grabbed Brandon Ingram, and then Melo walked back.
Yeah, they got out of the situation, and then so everybody was like, "Well, Rondo said, or CP3 saying he spit on me. He spit on me." None of the ESPN feeds showed any kind of video where there was any kind of spit.
I mean, it wasn't.
And then it came out.
Then you see
today
it in slow motion from a weird angle.
Yeah, yes. That he kind of just does a.
He did just enough.
Yeah,
he did just enough to fuck. It was typical Rondo.
It was. it was like he didn't spit. He licked his lips, got them like nice and moist, and then he just at him, and so
he licked his lips and said, "Fuck you." Just that little bit on the bottom lip just got fucking CP3.
It was like French was like,
baguette, like it, and it hit CP3 in the face. And
you saw his reaction to it like slow motion.
Said, "This motherfucker, what?" he gave that look back like, "Did you just fucking do this shit?" And then he fingered down his face.
And then he fucking picked his nose. He put it in. He had it in the forehead. Rondo moved, and Paul's finger went right up.
He straight finger gunned his forehead like dog. I was like,
Hey, so somebody spit on you though, like. You
right,
get,
I know.
Getting them hands.
I used to watch
getting them hands.
the Flavor Flav show,
Flavor of Love.
Flavor of Love. I used to watch that.
When Pumpkin spit on the old girl.
Shit.
We was ratchet back then.
Speaking of that, like the fucking Rondo's girl and CP3's wife got into it in the stands too. Apparently.
Oh no, they've hated Rondo and CP3 have hated each other for a long.
Yeah,
time.
no, I know that, but
CP3 with that uppercut though, right? God.
But what I laughed at most about the whole girlfriend and wife thing was the fact that it was girlfriend and wife. Because, you know, when they say you get married, that means someone could stand you. You know, no one could stand Rondo.
Yeah.
Ain't no one taking that shit.
The girlfriend apparently is. For now.
She can't take it. She ain't married.
So that's that fight being, you know, the big takeaway from the first week of the NBA is kind of like a sad note. I mean, it's amusing. It gives us shit to talk about.
It was hype.
But like we wanted to be talking about, you know, LeBron's debut for the Lakers.
Anthony Davis going wild.
He's just going bonkers
Nuggets.
right now.
Jokic.
That's why I had him at my 6th seed. I knew that they were going to be good.
Yo. Man, Utah Jazz in that Warriors game. That
was crazy.
Portland.
Well,
Portland, like I fucking said.
well, and so it's funny
In 2
because
games.
well, I've liked Portland, but over the season I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up the pace, and you know they played the Lakers in the Lakers' first game with this new roster, and the Spurs in the Spurs' second game with this new roster.
70 points in the paint
with
first game.
That's what LeBron and the Lakers got, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they need to make a move.
They need shooters.
Exactly, and they need to realize that Lance Stevenson was a bad signing because he's been their worst player. Like by far, Lance Stevenson has been the Lakers' worst player.
I mean, you can't really expect much from Lance Stevenson, really.
Which is why they need to realize that he should not see the court very often.
Steven Jackson and freaking.
You know who does need to see the court more?
They're all like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm available."
Who does need to see the court more, in my opinion, is Spurs starting center, Jakob Poeltl.
Poeltl.
I mean, from that home opener, he was hustling. He's attacking the board.
Well,
but he gets 6 minutes.
And
the first game.
DeRozan looks good in the system.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if the Spurs, you know, get like a top 4 seed, it's DeMar's MVP bet that I made. That's cash money. Because he has been phenomenal. LaMarcus he's put up good numbers. Like he had like 20 and 16 in the opener, but he
had that in like the first half.
He's been shooting like shit right now. Like when he finds his range and gets his shot going, well,
I can say the same thing about DeMar too, because DeMar, I mean, they're putting up shots. They're not all. He's missing a lot.
DeMar's, I mean, with what he's shooting, the types of shots he's getting. Like if he went, I think 10 for 21 in the opener or something like that, and like he's not an efficiency shooter, so you're not going to expect him to go like with crazy numbers. He was 11 to 22 in this last game, but like Aldridge was 6 of 13. Rudy Gay, 5 of 13. Bryn Forbes, 6 of 13. As a whole, they shot 42%. Patty Mills was 4 of 11.
Shots just not going down right now.
And you let the Blazers shoot 53.6%. And I think a lot of the damage that they did was at the line, because looking at the just field goal numbers, Spurs had 42 field goals to Portland's 45 and 13 threes to 15 threes. So they were outscored by 8 from the field, and they lost by 13, so they were outscored by 5 from the free throw line. Brent Forbes has looked... Before last season, I thought Brent Forbes was a guy who needed more of a role because he's a better Patty Mills, because he can defend better, and he's probably just as good a shooter as Patty, but
Got a little
like
more
I
height,
said,
a little more size in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a better defender, a much better defender than Patty is.
Well, because he's bigger too. Like,
So, I've liked what I've seen from the Spurs thus far in the 2 games. We'll see how they look tonight against the Lakers. I do believe that Pirtle should play a little bit more. I think
The Lakers without Ingram and Rondo.
Yeah, I think the problem with getting Pirtle more minutes is you play a smaller lineup, more minutes, and Pop still has this thing for Powell. But to talk about the lineup kind of stuff, when we did our season preview last week, y'all were talking about, Alvin, I believe you brought it up, about what are the Lakers going to do because JaVale McGee is their only true big. And what have they done in their first 2 games? Played lineups of LeBron, Ingram, Kuzma in the front court, and then Ball and Stevenson or KCP or something like that. So Kuzma's their 5. And that's kind of that's why Pirtle doesn't play as much, is because teams are doing that. And Pirtle being out there against that lineup isn't going to be your best lineup. LaMarcus is going to want to be on the court because he's, your second best player, maybe your best. Really depends on the night with him and DeMar. So you're going to have LaMarcus in that spot of guarding Kuzma. And then you're going to play Gay and DeMar and Bellinelli and Brent Forbes right now. But
the problem with that lineup, you don't got nobody to protect the rim.
Nobody has anybody to protect the rim.
And that's what's been going on. That's why you got James Harden slashing into the paint, getting N1s, and then you got Brandon Ingram throwing tantrums.
It doesn't matter about you having somebody to protect the paint on the court when nobody is in the fucking paint. You're running like a 4 corners offense, playing an ISO pick and roll up top, where you just bring in somebody. You can have LeBron running a screen and roll with Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma can pop, he can roll, and he's a good enough ball handler that you can actually slip it, get it to him, and he can make a play. So having a rim protector on the court still doesn't do you much good when he's having to sprint from the corner 3 to the rim.
If Rudy Gobert could do it for the Utah Jazz, I don't know, bro.
Think about who you just named.
Yeah. The best defensive big in the league.
All right. You got all these bigs that's more worried about shooting threes, not working on their D.
Just curious, in this first week, I'm pulling up blocks per game. So yeah, you have JaVale McGee, who has 4 blocks per game. And you have 20 people who are over 1.67.
Damn, 20 people.
Just 20 people over that. So, and this is 2 games, so you should have higher numbers than this. And guys on this list, John Wall is right now at 2.5 blocks per game.
Yeah.
Miles Turner's up there, guys that you don't expect to be on the top of this list. Michael Kidd Gilchrist is number 2. So you're not going to see just crazy blocks per game numbers. And the guys who are up there are going to be guys who are, pretty super athletic guys who can run and jump to cover the rim. That's why Kevin Durant was up there last year. He's not going to be on the block trying to protect the paint, but he is going to rotate when the rotation's needed, and he'll make a play there. So it's a different game that we're watching going on. Are there any other first week takeaways other than, Anthony Davis? He's right now going to be the MVP. He was one of the favorites to win MVP before the season started, and he looks like he's just on a rampage to try to win that. The Warriors, they played a close game against Utah. It took Jonas Jerebko to tip in a missed field goal to win that game, and then they lost on a last-second block last night to Denver. So they look decent, but
Denver?
No, Golden State. They look. Denver looks good.
Yeah, Denver looks real good.
But Golden State looks decent. Toronto,
they look real good.
Looks really good.
But they beat Boston.
It made me a little sad when I got home. It was I forgot the night it was, but I got home and I saw the video of the double block.
Yeah, Danny and
Kawhi. That made me a little sad watching that. I'm like, I miss Danny Green. Fuck the other guy, but
fuck Kawhi.
So it's the first week of the long season, and with the spaced out schedule, we don't have as many games going on for like individual teams. We still have a lot of games going on, but like the Spurs have played 2 games. This is their 3rd game in a week. It's not like it used to be where, in a week you would have 4 or 5 games and all that. So we'll have more to break down as the year goes on, because just like with the NFL and the MLB, the first couple months, you're watching teams kind of really realize who they are, what they need to do, make the adjustments going forward.
We can go to the Pacers game on Wednesday for $1.
Just to reiterate, I had read the wrong stats for the Lakers. Right now, they average 117 points, which is 23rd in the league.
117?
Yeah.
23rd.
But their opponent averages 126.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I read last year's stats. That was my bad, but you average 117 and you're 23rd in the league.
Yeah, a couple teams I think have already put up 140-plus point games. It's wacky, and as us being Spurs people, I think they're just kind of holding their breath until they get some of their guards back from injury, because I think once Lonnie comes back and Derek White comes back.
How long is Lonnie out for?
I think he's going to be out another like 3 or 4 weeks.
And then Derek White comes back in like fucking 6-7 weeks.
I think he's going to be back closer.
I thought they said 6 to 8 weeks.
It looked like Derek White was going to be back before Lonnie was, but I could have just flipped it. But yeah, the Spurs are just waiting for these guys to come back, and we'll really see what kind of team they have. So that leads us to the main event. World Series starts tomorrow. Dodgers, Red Sox. First time they've played in the postseason since 1916.
They're still in Brooklyn then, weren't they?
They were still in Brooklyn, and I don't even think they were the Dodgers. I don't think they were named. Their name was the Dodgers at that point. But that was the franchises. That was the last time they played in the postseason. Which really doesn't say much when you know that one team is a National League team and one team's an American League team, and they can only play in the World Series. And one of the teams didn't make it to the World Series for like 80 years. Well, I can't say that because they lost to the Mets in the 86 World Series with the Bill Buckner play. But other than that, yeah, the Red Sox didn't make it to many World Series for like 80 years.
Many of moons.
And last year was the first time the Dodgers had made it back to the World Series since 1988. So they haven't made it to many World Series to at least play each other. What are y'all's views on this series? Because, you know, a couple months ago we were talking about it. We brought it up that the Red Sox probably winning the World Series. But now that we're here, having seen how the postseason has played out, Alvin, what is your take for this World Series? What are you looking forward to watch most in this World Series?
To watch most, man, I can't even say it's pitching, man, because you can have all this like good pitching in the world, but really it's just how many runs you're going to put up on the board.
Just a whole lot of bats.
Yeah, it's just I'm looking at who's going to be in scoring position, and who's going to be leaving them on the who's going to be leaving runners on the base.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, who's gonna get base runners but not be able to bring them in?
Yeah, if you're gonna leave people stranded, you're losing the game, because it's apparent like pitching's not going to be a factor.
Yeah,
it might be one game, but then like the rest of you're gonna have people just yakking them up into the bleachers and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
well, so for the 3 games in LA, it depends on the weather. Because, I mean, I've never been to California, but from everything I've
let you know, it's good weather. Just saying.
We are planning a trip to go there in May, but
I'll be there though.
When like watching Dodgers games, one of the things that the announcers always bring up is how's the weather, like. Is because if it can, I guess the air can get a little dense to where
dry.
balls don't fly as far as they would in, say, Denver. But so it's like, if that's the case, then you're not going to be watching a bunch of home runs. So it's how our team's going to be able to try to drive in runs using the base path and hitting gaps and.
Well, Manny Machado's going to be going for Achilles. We know that.
you shared the Onion video, or the Onion post, right?
Yeah.
About him sliding into the pitcher. And the man, I've always loved watching Yasiel Puig play. And when he hit the ball, that three-run home run, off the bat, I was like, oh, man, like, it kind of looked like it hit the end of the bat. It looked like it was going to be something that could be ran down. And then I saw his reaction, and I realized, oh, that's a gapper. Like, that's a double. And so I was getting excited because it was a double. And then I watched, they show, the camera view of where the ball's going, and it still looks like it's going to just drop in front of the fence. And then it hits. And you realize that ball went over the fence? How the fuck did that ball go over the fence? And so he put that series to bed. I'm a believer in Kershaw. Like, I love watching that guy pitch, from the weird like leg kick to the curveball that he pretty much just kind of tosses like a fucking softball, but still manages to make it work. And like I always want to see him excel in the postseason, because I know the narrative of Kershaw in the postseason. I'm really excited to watch Game 1 because of the pitching matchup. Andrew, what are you looking forward to most in this series, though?
I want to be looking at Manny, Yasiel, and the other side Mookie.
I love Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
awesome.
Man.
Jackie Bradley Jr. too, man.
He found his swing. He went and looked at something, changed something, but because he was terrible in the second half of the season. I think his batting average was like 220 in the after All-Star break, and his RBI in the ALCS, or his RBI against the Yankees. I think he had some RBIs in the first round. Was like his first RBI of September. Like he'd gone like the entire month of September without having an RBI.
Man, and JD Martinez too, because I remember way back when we first did the MLB season, and it was like, oh, that JD Martinez contract, he's showing like he's worth all that money.
Yeah. He was a good player in Detroit and
in Arizona.
Cause it's still baffling to me that Detroit didn't make it to a World Series with prime Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer,
Cabrera,
Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, JD Martinez,
Prince,
Kinsler.
Kinsler
was
after Prince. They traded Prince for Kinsler. Who else did they have? They had
the shortstop. What's his name?
They had Verlander. They had Scherzer. They had
Anibal Sanchez.
He was there, and Rick Porcello. They had Rick Porcello. Like that was their pitching staff for a couple years, and they couldn't make it to a World Series. And like they had, the JD Martinez's, the Miguel Cabreras. Like they had some stacked teams, and they still couldn't get over the hump. And that, like, those Detroit teams are probably some of the best teams of the last 10 years to not make it to a World Series. Mookie is apparently going to possibly. I mean, it's not a for sure thing because they might adjust it depending on pitching matchups. But Mookie's going to play second base to allow JD Martinez to play in the outfield when there's no DH for the Red Sox. And that's probably the number 2 on my list of things that I'm looking forward to watching, is how this Red Sox team is going to mess around with their lineup when they don't have the DH. Because JD Martinez has been their DH. He's either DH or first base, but they... who's their normal first baseman?
I don't know, man. They got some players in there. I was just like, who is this guy?
I mean, Brock Holt shouldn't be out of the lineup. I don't think Kinsler should play. Kinsler hasn't really shown to be special enough to cause a difference, whereas Brock Holt has shown he's a legit batter in this lineup. And if you can throw him as your 8th batter before Jackie Bradley, you're going to give him chances to make something happen. And most times he seems to make something happen. Mitch Moreland. That's their first baseman. So they don't want to lose Moreland's bat, but they don't want to lose JD Martinez's bat. And JD Martinez, I think, is a better outfielder anyways. So Mookie hasn't played second base since the minors. But like I just brought up with Ian Kinsler's their normal second baseman. And if you're going to say, well, do we want to keep Ian Kinsler in the lineup to have a second baseman, or do we want to keep Mookie Betts in the lineup? And you put that on a scale. One side of the scale is going to go through the fucking ground. Because there's no way you take Mookie out of your lineup. He's your catalyst. He's the charisma. He is what Yasiel Puig is to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Because when Puig has it going, you watch that Dodgers dugout, and they're all up, they're all having fun, they're just loving life. Mookie is that guy. Like, Mookie is the one that big smile, super charismatic, really good bowler, by the way. I don't know. Side note.
Just in case y'all didn't know.
He actually has gone on to like professional tour, like bowling tournaments. But he's their catalyst, and it's, I think, going to be a better series looking at it now than if you would have said it's going to be Dodgers Red Sox a month ago, 2 months ago.
That would have been a wash.
Because Walker Buehler has turned himself into like top of the rotation guy, like lockdown ace. Ryu had a rough series against Milwaukee. So can he bounce back? Because he had a really good series in their first round. And he's had a pretty good year. Can you get good innings out of Rich Hill? Kenley Jansen is back to his normal Kenley Jansen self. Figured out the medication he needs to be on for the heart problem. And he was shut down against Milwaukee. So the Dodgers are a much better team now than they were 2 months ago. And the Dodgers have much better pitching right now, because as much as Kershaw has his playoff woes, David Price has his playoff woes. So how is David Price going to work? Like, is he going to give you the start that he gave you in Game 6? Whatever game it was, Game 5.
It's like 5 or 6, yeah.
5, because they won 4 straight. Game 5, or is he going to give you a game like he gave you in Game 2 where he got rocked? They ended up winning the game,
but he got booed out.
Yeah. So like, what David Price are you getting? What Clayton Kershaw are you getting in the playoffs? Like, those are big things, because for even the Red Sox, what Chris Sale are you getting? Because, the belly button ring got rejected. So is he going to be, like, emotionally scarred because he didn't get to keep his belly button ring? Like,
I'm sure he'll be all right once he gets that fat-ass World Series ring.
But I don't think a belly button can hold that up.
He'll probably make it work.
So
he'll probably just get one of the diamonds out there.
Before we move on to Fire, Dire, and Prophecies, World Series predictions. Andrew, what do you got going on in the World Series? Who's winning and how many games?
I got Boston in 4. Or Boston in 5, I'm sorry.
Boston in 5?
Boston in 5.
This is mainly just because I don't like seeing teams win a lot. I'm anti-dynasty. And this would be the 4th World Series ring for Boston this millennium. So I'm saying Dodgers in 7. Make up for last year, losing in 7. Getting their first World Series ring in 30 years. Nice even number, 30 years. And that's mainly
I'm perfectly fine with them not winning one.
That's mainly me not wanting the Red Sox to win. I love this Red Sox team. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love Mookie and JD and Jackie Bradley and Benintendi. Like, I really like this team. And 9 times out of 10, I would root for them. But I also don't like. I want to see a team that hasn't won in a while win. Like, if the Cleveland Indians hadn't been playing the Chicago Cubs in the World Series 2 years ago, I would be rooting for the Cleveland Indians to win. They weren't. I didn't. They lost. So that's just that's my heart pick. That's what I want to happen. What I see happening isn't that. I see Red Sox in 6. So my heart wants Dodgers in 7. It's probably going to be Red Sox in 6.
You should just tell your heart to
fuck off.
Yeah, kick rocks.
It's led me good so far. So let's do Fire, Dire, and Prophecies and get done for the week. I'll lead off with my Fire. Carry on Johnson like I said, I was going to get to the Lions earlier. The coaching staff of the Detroit Lions realized that they have a fucking running back to use, and they used him, and he ran for 156 yards. Like, you don't need... Like, Matt Stafford is a very, very good quarterback. Golden Tate, good receiver. Marvin Jones, good receiver. Kenny Galladay, good receiver. But, as I brought up with, the best offenses in the league, look at the best offenses in the league again. I'm even throwing the Saints in here. Saints, Chiefs, Rams. What do they all have in common? Running backs that they can depend on to where their quarterback doesn't have to throw Andrew Luck numbers to try to win a game. And they finally figured out that this dude, Kerryon Johnson, who's only a rookie, is actually really damn good, and they just fed him the ball. So I know that he had the 156 yards. Matt Stafford only threw 22 times. Like, that's success right there. Matt Stafford, 18 of 22. QBR, which is the 1 to 100 number, it was 92.4. Kerryon Johnson had 19 carries for 158 yards. To be fair, he had a long of 71. But that goes to the Zeke point that I said. Like, give your running back the ball as much as you can, because if they're that good, they will make this play happen. Saquon Barkley is the same way. Give the ball to Saquon 20 times a game, because one of those 20, he's going to get you 50 or 60 yards. He might be able to break a 40-yard touchdown run. They still gave the ball to LeGarrette Blount 10 times, which is 9 times too many. But they ran the ball 13 times more than they passed it. And so Kerryon Johnson is my fire pick for this week. Andrew, who's on fire for you?
Yeah. my fire's going out to the Panthers at 21-point comeback in the fourth.
Hey.
So...
Yeah.
They were down 17-0 going into the fourth, came back and put it to bed.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they came back in that game. Mainly because I picked Philly to win.
Right.
But being down that much, having to rely on Cam, because Christian McCaffrey didn't have as good of a game as he's had throughout the season. It was them being down was a surprise, but them coming back was even more of a surprise to me.
I wasn't so much surprised that they were down.
Being down 17-0 and playing the way they were at the time, I got to a Philly team that hasn't really been great this season yet.
Yeah. It's just it's just that 21-point fourth quarter.
Yeah. And, the refs were trying to help Philly out on their drive to try to come down and win the game, apparently. I saw that a couple of the penalties called were a little questionable. So, Alvin, on fire for you.
My fire, just going to shout out to my nerds. Cloud9 making it to the semifinals in the World
League of Legends.
Worlds of League of Legends. First time in 7 years now?
Since 2011.
Yeah.
That a North American team has made the Final Four.
I tried watching it the other day.
You were up late.
Yeah.
You were up late.
No, I think I was watching a replay of
it.
Yeah,
it was a quick series.
Quarterfinal or
first
something.
match started at 11 p.m.
They smashed the Korean team 3-0, so the only one in quarterfinals to go 3-0. All the rest went 5. But
on top of that, the only one seed.
Yeah.
Was Fnatic out of EU.
All the favorites except for the EU team got bounced out.
Korea got kicked out in the first round.
All of the Korean teams.
Yeah.
But my main fire is Wayne Rooney dragging the DC United team to their playoff berth. Bro, they went on a 9-game win streak, and this dude was just on fire. 12 goals in his last 19 games.
Wayne Wayne Rooney's a good soccer player, but let's be fair. Wayne Rooney was washed in the Premier League. And he comes to the MLS and does this type of stuff. What does it say about your league? Like, what does it
like him and Ibra just like taking over the league right now.
Yeah, and they can't fucking get a team across the sea, across the ocean. Like they can't get a team over there.
But Rooney's like role in the Premier League is a lot different now in the MLS, because like now in the MLS they're expecting him to
right.
You're a skull goer, like
right. Well, and so to be fair, like Zlatan would be he would be signed by a team like Tottenham or like a mid to low tier Premier League team, but they wouldn't be able to pay him the same amount of money that he's going to get paid right now in the MLS. So
exactly.
like that's the big thing.
And then he had like a pretty like lofted ball like from 40 yards out to a player like he assisted on, and that shit looked pretty. It was like it's pretty much like Drew Brees or like Aaron Rodgers.
What Pogba does.
Just like lofting it up in the air and just into the basket. Like lofted it, bounced, bam, like in the goal. Like that's like one of the prettiest goals you'll see so far.
Follow up your fire with your Dyer, Alvin.
My Dyer, fortunately, fucking clapping the damn Cowboys.
Clapping all the way to mediocrity.
Yeah, just ruining my weekend. We could have gotten that division.
The division lead.
But, of course, inconsistency and then whole personnel. I'm hoping the Amari Cooper trade works out. I definitely don't think he's worth a first-round pick, but our receivers are just dropping passes too, so they can't be complaining that they're not getting the ball. So, I mean, like, you're getting the ball, but you're dropping them, bro. Like,
right. Yeah, and we touched on the Cowboys quite a bit earlier, so understandably so, them being a Dyer this week. Andrew?
I actually had two Dyers because I would feel like we'd go over them, and we actually just went over both of them. I had the Brandon Ingram leading to the fight on the court, and then what Alvin just went over, that fourth quarter time management on the coach's side, and just... It was a rough loss.
It was so good up until it wasn't.
It was a rough loss until you were like... You're watching it. You're all of this is for a tie.
Here's something that I didn't say when we first talked about it. Not only did the Cowboys get the ball or have the ball at like the 45-yard line with 57 seconds left, they got the ball at the like 35-yard line with like a minute 20 left.
Mm-hmm.
And they went 30 yards in 20 seconds and went 10 yards in 57.
Stalled out.
And this is your 2-minute offense. Yeah. That was bad. And my Dyer's something that we also touched on a little bit earlier. Justin Tucker he was 200 in regular season, 200 of 22 for 222. In college, he was 71 of 71 for extra points. He hadn't missed a field goal in his professional career within 33 yards. And when, watching...
That's why he's a meme now.
I was watching... he's a meme now because went off his foot, like when you watch that kick... Off his foot, the first like 15 yards, 20 yards, you're like, okay, tied game. Like, what are the Saints going to do? Or are they just going to go to overtime? And then it's like Lance Stevenson stood next to that ball and blew. Because it just took a wide right turn. And I was reading an article about like love and hate for this weekend, like winners and losers of the weekend. Yeah. And he said it was like the ball's way zap told him to take a right. Because that ball just took off, and that's why you had the look that he had, because he was like,
the fuck?
What the hell happened here? Because I kicked it right. Like he did kick it right, but like he kicked it properly. Like it came off the foot great, and it didn't even look like it was like off its axis. It looked like it was like end over end, and it just blew the hell away.
And 300 feet make a right.
So the Saints end up winning by 1 because of that kick.
They escaped that game.
Which looks good for my Super Bowl pick still. So prophesizing, Alvin, I'll let you lead off on the prophecies.
Prophecy, Barcelona and Real Madrid.
El Clasico, no Leo.
Sunday.
No Leo Messi.
No Leo. So Real Madrid actually has a chance because they've been looking trash anyways. But without Leo, Real might have a chance, but I still think Barca gets the win.
I mean,
I'll say 3-1.
I mean, as great as Messi is, it's not like they're a trash team without him.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Real Madrid they're still healthy and they can't even buy a goal. Seems like, but I still think it goes 3-1 Barca.
3-1 Barca. Which, I mean, I'm all for because I hate Real.
I do too.
Andrew, your prophecy?
My prophecy is I've got the Spurs playing LA 2 times this and before we record again, so I have them taking both of them.
The series ends by like December 15th.
Yeah, we got
super early.
We got tonight and we got on Monday or tonight and Saturday. Say Spurs take both of them. Yeah, December 7th. Friday, December 7th is the end of the series.
I think Rondo and Ingram are missing both because Rondo might be back for Saturday, but Ingram won't be. I would love to see that. My prophecy is more of a fun one just because I want to see it. The Browns play the Steelers this weekend. The first game they tied. The second game, they tie again.
Another tie?
Come on, ties. It would be the 5th overtime game for the Browns this year, which is just ridiculous. Like I feel like at that point you should realize that your team's good. You have talent. You need to make some changes because
they did. They traded Carlos Hyde,
which was a good move because Nick Chubb was going to be their running back of the future. Like Carlos Hyde was kind of a 1-year rental. Like let's try to get Chubb into the system, and then they started giving Chubb the ball, and he was scoring touchdowns and breaking long runs and looked great. And so they were like, let's try to get something for this guy because that team needs a running back because Leonard Fournette can not stay on the field. So I think that was a really good move by the Browns to get rid of Hyde. So that I mean, I honestly don't think that's going to happen. Same thing with the Dodgers and 7 thing. It's more of a hopeful premonition. So that wraps up the weekly episode of the Benchwarmers podcast. We'll get on to World Series talk again, breaking down what's happened. If Kershaw throws a stinker, then I'm going to have to listen to Alvin talk shit about Kershaw.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
So let's hope that doesn't happen. So we'll be back next week. I have been Casey Coggins with Alvin Hebert.
Kershaw doesn't want the smoke.
And Andrew Lara.
See ya.
See ya.
We are bandits of a different kind.